Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I am Aesop Grimm, and this is the intro video for my next chronicle on this channel, Surviving Mars. As you can tell from the text, I do have the Green Planet DLC, but I don't have any of the other DLCs, so that's as far as I went. Before talking about the scope of what this playthrough is going to be about, let's go ahead and do the content briefing. I'm going to go ahead and let the original Surviving Mars trailer play while I'm going over this. So the official ESRB rating is everyone 10 plus. So it got one of those E ratings, E for everyone, 10 plus. They knocked it for alcohol reference, fantasy violence, and mild language. And the rating summary says this is a strategy / management game in which players build and manage resources for a colony on Mars. Players mine resources, e.g. fuel, rare metals, and water, build dome structures, and manage inhabitants' needs along the way. Characters may die of malnutrition or commit suicide if their sanity levels fall too low. This is conveyed mostly through text, as inhabitants are simply depicted collapsing and lying on the ground after death. Players can also construct turrets to defend their bases from rival corporations' attacks. Missiles and explosions accompany these brief attack sequences. Colonists have a variety of character traits that affect their productivity, including alcoholism. Text briefly references alcohol addiction, e.g., we all find our own ways to cope with this pressure. Svetan Hasanov finds it in the bottle. The word hell appears in text. And then another website, the one that's kind of become my go-to website, I really like it, is commonsensemedia.org. And they rate it also as age 10 plus. They give it 4 out of 5 stars. They call it optimistic but realistic, challenging sci-fi city builder. And down in the section where I typically expect to find kind of a custom content briefing that would be kind of like what I do and what I'm about to do here in just a minute. They didn't do it this time for this game. They just copied and pasted from the ESRB rating summary. So they just repeat what ESRB says. So in lieu of anything else, I'll just tell you what I found. These guys made the Tropico 3, 4, and 5 games too. So if you've ever played those games, there are some similarities here. You can see from the trailer that I played that the art style is very cartoony, and it's kind of that uplifting kind of cartoony, not like a movie, an animated movie that's made for older people. This is more like what you would sit your toddlers down and expect them to be excited and happy and clap their hands and stuff. It's that kind of animation. So it's an uplifting animation style. And then there can be some humor that comes along with it that's kind of in line with that as well. And so much like what the description already detailed, there's just, if you're worried about seeing blood or anything, that doesn't happen. If you're worried about gratuitous violence, it's not there. What you are going to get is you're going to get context. You're going to get some scenarios that can be really stark if you grasp the context going along with it. And that's distinctly kind of a paradox style, paradox gaming. So, for example, while you don't really see any intense death sequences, you just see colonists sort of pass out and fall on the ground. What you can get is you can get an entire dome of people, 200 people, wandering around the streets looking for stuff to eat, water to drink, who just suddenly fall over onto the ground, all of them. And you know why. It's because they ran out of oxygen and you couldn't get it fixed. one of your power lines broke that fed your oxygen, your Moxie oxygen maker, and that dome went without oxygen for too long, and everybody in there just died. So whenever you know what's going on and you see this happen, that can be somewhat jarring. The best example I have, probably personal example, is that I had made a dome that was restricted to only the elderly. Only elderly senior citizens could be in that dome. And I took kind of this respect your elders approach. I really blinged that dome out. I mean, I put gardens in there. I put the most comfortable housing type that you could get. I put a grocery store in there for them, and an amphitheater, so they could take their spouses out to see a play, and I had a diner in there you could go to eat afterwards, and I had water fountains and gardens all around that area that all of these amenities are clustered into. They had, like I said, they had great housing. They had entire tiles dedicated to huge areas of gardens to walk in. I tried to make it really awesome to respect the founders that had come before the younger group, and so I was really zoomed in inside this dome, kind of watching all of my senior citizens walk around. I had a nurse, a doctor's office in there. They had their own private doctor's office. They didn't have to travel to another dome. And I'm watching them all interact with their amenities and go eat and do shopping and stuff, and just to kind of see, okay, how's everybody doing? Does everybody look generally happy? Are their golden years good? And as I'm panning around, I come across this part where I had a bench in a park. It's beautiful. You got a fountain behind it. You can hear the water. And as I adjusted, kind of pivoted the camera around the bench, I saw two elderly people lying on the ground. It was a jarring scene, because I know what happened there. And in contrast to all of the happy-go-lucky moments that I was witnessing before, then, there was this sudden contrast. But that's about as bad as it gets, So, whether you're wondering what this game's going to be like for the sake of your kids, or whether you're wondering about for the sake of yourself, I hope that I've been able to illustrate what kind of style game this is, and hopefully the trailer showed you some of that too. So let's go ahead and wrap the content briefing on that. Let's let the Green Planet trailer play, and then I'll tell you about the scope, my intent for this playthrough. So I have the Green Planet DLC, but I have not at all ever even tried to terraform Mars. So I don't know what I'm doing with that, and I don't know if we're going to get into it. This is like really a similarity with all Paradox games. I take years to learn these things. I think it's because I don't stick with them. I play them a whole bunch for a while, and I die repeatedly, and I learn the mechanics of the game, and then I'll move on to something else because I'm tired of it, and then I'll come back a few months later and I'll learn a little bit more. So I end up learning the games at what I consider to be a relatively slow pace. These are very complex games, and that's how Surviving Mars was for me as well. I've had Surviving Mars since it came out, if I recall correctly. And then I got the Green Planet DLC, and I haven't gotten any other DLC since then. But I am only just now getting to the point where I have been able to successfully get a dome and get people in it, and then maybe build another dome. That really has only happened recently. Up until then, I was having a hard time even getting a dome successfully put together and colonists to come down and live for very long. So just to give you an idea of where I'm at, I'm very much not good at this game. I'm trying to figure it out. And so this series is going to be quite limited in scope. I think I'm just simply trying to not kill my whole colony, and trying to expand past the first 2 or 3 domes. And maybe if we're lucky enough, if we're successful enough, we'll also get into some terraforming. But I'm not exactly sure where my endpoint is going to be for this game. I don't have a solid goal in place. I just know that I'm learning it. Like in that rating summary when it talked about you can build turrets to defend your site, I was like, you what? I've not ever witnessed that myself. I didn't even know that was part of the game. There are technologies in this game that I know about, but I've never used. Like I think it's called the Tribo Scrubber, something like that. There's the mow hole. There's a fake sun for power. You know, I've seen these things in playthroughs or heard about them in videos, short tutorial videos on YouTube, but I've never seen it myself in the actual game. So that I think should make this series a little bit of fun because there's definitely stuff in the mid to late game that I'm unfamiliar with and it'll be new to me. And if we make it that far, then we'll get to see maybe how I'm able to implement that. But that's really kind of all I got. I guess I should tell you what I'm planning on doing for a starting scenario. It's pretty much easy mode. I'm going to, if I remember off the top of my head, it's 9 degrees north, 179 degrees. I want to say west, but I'm not positive if it's west or east. I'll be able to tell whenever I'm looking in game for where we're going to land. But really, everything right around that area, I know what the threats look like. The threats are all rated class 1 out of 5. That's the easiest you're going to get. And the available materials, which there are 3 rated sections, it's 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, if I remember right. So it's a really easy area to start out as. My play style, I think, appears to be most conducive to Brazil, which is, in my estimations, kind of an incredibly OP start. The things that Brazil is able to do is really nice. We'll talk more about it in episode 1. And that seems to line up with how I've been doing my domes here lately. But again, I'm not an expert at this at all. I'm very much an amateur. So I don't know. I've advanced as a player myself, but I don't know where that puts me on the whole. I would imagine I'm not very good. And let's see. It's going to be, I'm going to be an inventor. That, again, for my playstyle works out really well because of the autonomous drone hubs. What else? Everything else I think we'll just go over in the first episode where I show you what I'm going to load my initial rocket up with and stuff like that. But I think that'll do it for an intro video. We're rolling up on 14 minutes and I think I've covered everything. So we'll do that, and this will be a series that I'm just kind of having fun with while I take a breather from some other games I've been playing. And I don't know how long this is going to go for or what I'm doing next. I don't know what I'm doing next either. But we'll just play this until it feels like I've reached a stopping point and then call it good. All right. Again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by this channel. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you saw enough to be intrigued, enough to give at least the first couple episodes a shot and see if you like my narration style and my play style. But hey, even if you don't, if you've made it this far, even for those who didn't make it this far, but it's kind of not applicable to them, obviously, I want to wish you and yours the best, no matter where you're at in the world, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your system is, just from one human to another. I think we can all pull for each other, regardless of some of that other stuff. There's just something about rooting for other human beings. You know, if you're out there fighting the good fight, man, I'm in your corner. And I hope all is well for you and yours and that 2023 is smiling upon you thus far. And for those of you that are going to stick around, I'll see you in the next episode where this story begins.